Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Chaotic Entertainment. I'm your host, Dan, and today we'll be discussing the latest changes coming to Twitch. It's ironic that this would happen as soon as I started live streaming there again. Funny how things work, isn't it? If you aren't aware, Twitch has made the decision to shoot themselves in the foot not once, not twice, but rather they've decided to empty the entire mag into their toes. On September 21st, Twitch posted a public statement regarding their subscription revenue split policy and the changes they'll be making to it. The statement comes from Twitch president Dan Clancy, who dropped an over 18-paragraph long message for the world to read. Although I suppose dropping is not the right term, it's more like he bent over and just shat it out into everyone's laps. We'll be going over certain parts of that statement, but I'm not going to just sit here and read it to you. For full transparency, I'll have a link to the thing in the description of the video. The overall gist of the statement is Twitch, for the longest time, had a deal they would offer their more successful streamers. They would receive 70% of all revenue from subscriptions, an amount that really begins to add up as a channel grows. The reason this matters is because smaller channels only receive a 50-50 split, taking home only half of every sub they receive. This isn't a policy that was ever really openly talked about by Twitch staff to my knowledge, but it was more or less an open secret. For years, people pushed Twitch to expand this offer to include everyone, and for good reason. For live streaming, Twitch is the de facto leader in the industry. When people think of podcasts and live gameplay, Twitch is typically the first place that comes to mind instead of, say, YouTube. Despite YouTube being the biggest video platform in the world, it has nowhere near the level of publicity and success that Twitch has in the realm of live streaming. In 2021, Streamlabs reported that Twitch made up 65% of all streaming hours watched between them, YouTube, and Facebook, with YouTube Live sitting at 23%. Despite this gap, YouTube is significantly more charitable to its content creators by only taking 30% of a channel's membership fees, the YouTube equivalent of a Twitch subscription. Now, as a platform, Twitch is just better overall for live streaming in almost every way. Their chat system is widely regarded as the best in the business, and their rating features make collaboration and promotion between content creators both simple and easy. Also, because it's the platform that the biggest streamers use, it tends to be the place people will flock. If there's a game or a type of discussion that you would like to listen into, your odds of finding it on Twitch are much better than on YouTube. Plus, if you add in things like Twitch Prime, which give you in-game rewards for things like League of Legends, it's hard to imagine anyone would ever knock them down a peg or two. The issue, however, is Twitch is once again reminding everyone that it's its own worst enemy. Following the drama with XQC, scams, gambling, and unfair enforcement of their TOS, the company has decided to wrap up their month of controversy with a nice bow. The announcement was made that instead of having the 70-30 split for larger content creators, everyone on the platform will be dropped down to the standard 50-50. As you can imagine, this came as a bit of a surprise, especially to the highest-ranking streamers on the platform. The reason for this decision was laid out in President Clancy's post, where he states that offering the 70-30 split was simply too expensive. Myself, along with many others, aren't entirely sure how that could possibly be. Yes, the overhead for server hosting and all the services they offer is not cheap, but the subscriptions are an intangible product. There is no cost of production for a subscription, so to speak. This isn't a case where Twitch produces a tangible good with an associated cost of production and the streamer just happens to be the front man selling it. When someone subscribes to a streamer, they're subscribing to that individual, not to Twitch. Twitch, however, sees it quite differently. They believe the half-and-half rev share represents the notion that both the company and the performer are in this together. This reminds me a lot of the times I worked for awful retail jobs and I was repeatedly told by my bosses we're all a big family right up until I needed something from them. As many have pointed out, this may have something to do with the actual performance of Twitch. The platform is absolutely the largest, but this isn't as straightforward as it seems. Twitch has extravagant viewership, but what many don't realize is that most of these people are flocking to a select few streamers. There aren't many content creators on the platform that pull in the type of viewership that XQC has. Moist Critical has stated that in order to fall into the top 1% of streamers on the platform, it takes a little over 50 viewers on average. Assuming he's a reliable source, that means the bulk of Twitch's income is coming from an extremely small minority of creators. YouTube, in contrast, has far more creators that take in millions of views per capita. This, in theory, should mean that it was only a small number of people benefiting from the 70-30 split on Twitch. as opposed to everyone on YouTube who has a similar figure as their rev share. How on earth could this possibly be bankrupting Twitch? Simple. Because the people with this deal are the people Twitch wants to give this to the least. It's not much of an issue if Twitch only gets $3 out of a $10 transaction, but when you start putting zeros after those numbers, it's a different story. That isn't to say I think Twitch is doing this out of necessity, I'm almost positive it's out of greed. I say this because in the very same statement, President Clancy plugs and promotes how they've made it more profitable for streamers to run ads in their broadcasts. It's not a huge deal if the small-time creators are running ads because not many people will see them. It's not very beneficial to Twitch in the long run. But imagine if people like Hassan or Asmongold were running ads every 15 minutes with thousands, if not millions of people watching. As far as Twitch is concerned, this would be an unlimited cash flow. Now, let's make something perfectly clear. Ads on Twitch are ass. They're just god-awful, nobody likes them. People barely put up with ads on YouTube, and many of those are at least skippable. On Twitch, most people have to sit through a few ads before they can even watch the stream, and they must watch them in their entirety. This is annoying from the get-go, but it's even worse when it's in the middle of the content you're watching. Ads on YouTube aren't the worst because you can always pause and jump around in a video without missing anything. When it's an ad during a live stream, however, you're either missing entire minutes of content or the creator is having to stop every few minutes or so and hit the run ad button, which just throws off the entire flow of the broadcast. I don't think the folks at Twitch have really considered this, seeing how Clancy brags about the increased amount creators get from ads while breaking the news that they're taking a pay cut. Imagine the actual nerve someone must have had when they made this decision. We're reducing your pay, but also we're gonna make your content objectively worse if you want to compensate. There are a lot of problems here. At first, I thought this was just Twitch trying to tighten its belt, but when you realize this entire scenario sounds like one large scheme to make more ad revenue, it goes from stupid to borderline malicious. At the very least, this is pure greed and a blatant misunderstanding of the experience that creators and viewers come to the site for. A few big names are threatening to leave the platform if they follow through with the decision. Honestly, this is the nicest gift Amazon could have ever given to YouTube, who is in a rather unique position right now. Several of the creators on Twitch have successful YouTube channels. Others have several of their clips on the site, posted by themselves or by fans, meaning even folks who don't go to Twitch still recognize their brand. The jump from one platform to the other wouldn't be a difficult one, and it could be a major issue for Twitch, especially in ways they may not have considered. Streaming platforms like Mixer have failed even with massive names on them because outside of those few figures, there were few well-known names on the site. Once folks were done watching their live stream, they would often jump back over to Twitch or to YouTube to watch other creators they enjoyed. If enough of the large names abandoned Twitch, a similar effect could happen. If the majority of the streamers I like are on one platform, I'm far more likely to spend my viewing hours on that platform. If they leave, I won't just stick around and try to find creators to replace them, especially if they all went to the same place. When Ninja went to Mixer, not very many of his friends went with him. But if all of the people who are threatening to leave Twitch actually follow through, it could be devastating. YouTube is a big enough name that drawing attention to it is as easy as breathing. If your career was strong on Twitch, you'll most likely be fine on YouTube. Not only that, but there's also the benefit of a secure source of ad revenue from people watching a creator's videos or past live streams on the channel between broadcasts. What's interesting is live streaming is a subtly competitive business. Everyone wants people to watch them when they're live because that's when they're most likely to donate, but it's also non-competitive in that a rising tide lifts all ships. But the inverse is true as well. This change will directly impact large streamers and will indirectly affect the smaller ones as a result. As I said, if the streamers you like are all together on a different platform, you'll most likely find yourself just watching content on that platform. Getting noticed on Twitch is already difficult. Imagine if the big names that sometimes trickle views down to smaller creators are suddenly gone. It's possible that some smaller creators will step up and take their place, but I've got my doubts. Now would be a great time for YouTube to improve their live streaming service. And I'm not saying this is the death of Twitch. Nothing that clickbaity, and I don't pretend I'm smart enough to see that coming. Nothing is ever set in stone, and we don't know if they have something else in the works to retain their big names. I can't see the future, so it would be unreasonable of me to say for certain where this all leads. And whether or not this spells the end for Twitch, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. What does matter is this is a decision that exclusively harms their creators. Streamers who have built the platform up are only negatively impacted by this change. This is a lose-lose situation. Either they take a pay cut or they start ad spamming, which is a great way to lose viewers. No one wants to live in a world where live streams have the same ad rolls as cable TV. The larger streamers on Twitch are already contractually obligated to run a certain number of ads as they stream, and I've never heard them say it's a good thing. I don't know if YouTube has a similar setup, but if they do, I don't think I've ever noticed. If Twitch really wants to go through with this, then I'd highly recommend they start promoting the hell out of their smaller channels. There's a very good chance they'll be relying on them soon. Honestly, they should do that anyways. But hey, those are just my thoughts on the matter. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then please remember to leave a like down below and to hit subscribe. If you'd like to help support this channel, my Patreon can be found in the description. Thank you all again. I'll see you all next time.